Hello painters, it's Debbie from acrylicpouring.com, and today I'm back in my little painting space for an experiment. We've got no paints involved today, but we have got two new finishes that I want to try. So if you've been following along for a while, you'll know my trials with various different finishes for uses with ceramic tiles. So ceramic tiles are really great to do your acrylic pours on, but if you want to use them decoratively, then using the polyacrylic is my preferred finish, and it creates a really nice glossy finish. You can put your little tile up on a stand and it looks really nice as a little mini artwork. But if you want to use it as a functional coaster, then you need to find something which is going to be heat and water resistant, and it's not going to dent or stain or provide any kind of difficult sticky kind of tacky finish for use with a hot mug. So I've been trying out various different things, and I found one which really worked for me, and while I was doing that, somebody else also recommended this one. This is the Minwax Clear Aerosol Lacquer. This is an oil-based spray finish, and she said she gets really good results with this one, so I'm going to try this one today. And also, you may have seen in the past where I've used some art resin, and that's so expensive here, but I have managed to track down this one in my local DIY store. This is the Envirotex Light Pour On High Gloss Finish, and I'm also going to try that on a tile and see if it will stand up to the hot coffee cup test. And at the same time, I'm going to mix up a little bit of extra resin because I've got a whole bunch of mini canvases that I want to finish off today as well. So to get started, I'm going to take my tile and my aerosol outside. If you read any of the warnings on the back of these cans with these spray finishes, it always says to do it outside or in a really well ventilated area, and some of them they do smell. So my room is extremely well ventilated, but hey, we can even do better than that. So I'm going to take one of these coasters outside, one of the tiles, give it 3 coats with this one, and then I'll bring it back, and then we'll have a look at the second option as well. So the coaster with the lacquer is now outside drying, and we will come back to that one towards the end of the video. But for now, I'm going to start, with this 2-part resin. So I've worked out for this tile and the few mini canvases that I want to do that I need about, hopefully, 90 millilitres. Half of that is 45, which is 3 tablespoons. So I've got a cup, and I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of the resin and 3 tablespoons of the hardener. I'm going to get my glasses on. I'm also going to need some gloves. Oh, I'm going to need some powder probably to get these on. It's still extremely hot and humid here. So let me get my gloves on and then we'll start mixing. Okay, I've got my gloves, and as suggested by one of the members of our Facebook group, I've got 2 pairs of gloves on. So if one pair gets really mucky and sticky, I can pull that one off and have a clean pair underneath if I need to pick up my torch or anything like that. If it doesn't, then I've got a clean pair underneath I can use a second time. I thought that was a really cool idea. So let's see, this is our resin. So I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of the resin into my cup first of all. 1. I probably need to scrape that out a little bit. There's 1. And 3. So I've got 3 tablespoons of the resin, and of course, as we know, resin is only going to work properly if you mix it exactly 50-50. So now, rather than just guess, I need to measure exactly 3 of the hardener. Now this hardener is a little bit yellow. I did have a look online about reviews about this resin, wondering whether it was going to yellow or whether it would be good for the artwork, and I couldn't really see a lot of feedback either way. A lot of people just saying it was really good, but I don't know about whether it will yellow or anything. It's obviously, because it's slightly yellow to start with, I'm imagining that obviously it's not going to be as completely clear as the art resin was. I'm assuming it's got to have a little bit of a yellow tinge to it, but we will see. I'm assuming if I just put a thin layer you know, the slight yellowing to it probably isn't going to be noticeable, but we will see. Okay, so there's my 3 of hardener. Okay, now I need to stir. La-di-da-di-da-di-da. And it says in the instructions, stir for 2 minutes. I'm going to double check those and keep on stirring, because the last one I did, the art resin, had to stir for 3 minutes. So I'm going to double check. You don't need to watch me continue to stir, and I'll be back here in a minute when it's ready to use. Okay, yes, I've read the instructions. It says basically 3 minutes. So I need to keep it going a bit longer. I want to make sure it's well mixed, but at the same time I don't want to introduce too many bubbles. And I can see from the colour, you see if I put it in front of my creamy sweater there, that it is slightly yellow, which is different to the art resin that I used before that was completely like crystal clear. But it's so much cheaper. So if I can get this to work and it's still going to look good, then I will be happy to at least use it, you know, on a few tiles and some of my mini canvases that I do. Still stirring. Okay, so I've stirred and I've stirred and I've stirred, and it's got a lot of bubbles in it, and it's still that slightly yellowy colour, but I think it's good to use. So I'm going to pop this on my tile. Let's see if I zoom you in a little bit more so you can get a closer look. And there we go. So now I'm just going to pour a little bit onto the centre. And I'll tilt it about a little bit, a bit like we do with our paint, and see how we get on. If I can get it to mostly cover by tilting, then we'll be good. Oh, I've got a little bit coming off the edge there. Oh, I've put some tape on the back of the tile, so if it runs over the edge a little bit, it should be fine. The drips should all hopefully come off fine later on with the tape. And I think I've got enough by the time I rub that around with my fingers. And I can rub it over the sides. There we go. Any little dribbles you're taking care of with my finger there. And rub it over the surface, make sure it's nice and smooth. It looks good. I don't see any separating, so that means that's good. That means I've cleaned all the silicone oils off adequately, so I'm happy with that. A bit more with my finger around the sides, and that looks beautiful and is good to go. So I can now just sit that on the top there, put this to one side, and I'm going to leave this now to cure for 3 days, and then I'll show you what it looks like, and then we will do the hot mug test with the resin and also with that brush on lacquer that I used. See you soon. So both of my tiles are finished and they've been sat around drying, curing, finishing, whatever you want to call it, for a whole 7 days. So this one on this side, this is our one with the aerosol lacquer, and the one this side is the resin. So let's start by looking at the finish. This finish here is our, shall we say, my standard finish. This is the finish that I would get on a tile if I were using the polyacrylic Minwax brush on varnish. As you can see, very smooth, very glossy, very nice. This one is going to be the one which has our spray varnish, and as you can see, again, very glossy, very nice. I've put 3 thin coats on this one, so it's glossy, but it doesn't look as thick as you would get with the brush-on coats, because the aerosol spray-on coats are thinner, but it's still nice and glossy, so that one's good. Then this one is our resin finish, and as you'd expect with resin, very shiny, very nice. There's one user error. I have a nice big piece of fluff or something stuck in there, but otherwise the finish on the resin, very thick, very glossy, very smooth, really nice. So now that we've got all of our finishes, it's time for us to give them the hot coffee test. So I'm going to go down, make a couple of cups of boiling water, and we'll stick them on here and see if they stick. So my hot coffee cups are in place. Both mugs are the same. They both contain the same volume of water and they're both the same temperature of water. So I'm going to give them a 30-second test, and then I'll pick them up and see what happens. Okay, so it's been 30 seconds. This is our lacquer. This is our resin. Let's see what happens when I give them the pickup test. Okay, that was a slight stick, but very, very little. This is our resin. No stick at all. Okay, so 30 seconds so far, so good. I'm going to now leave them 3 minutes and then we'll see if they stick. Okay, so our 3 minutes are up and it's time to test our coasters. The one on this side is the one with the spray-on lacquer. Let's see how you do, Minwax. Oh, Minwax spray-on lacquer is a fail for me. So it seems that some people have good results with it, but for me it stuck to the hot cup of coffee. So that one didn't work out. I'm disappointed in that. I had high hopes for this one. It certainly creates a nice finish on your tiles, but it, as you see, didn't stand up to the hot coffee test. That definitely stuck. This one is our Envirotex light resin. No sticking at all, so that's good. But I'm going to get my glasses on and just have a look at the surface of our resin and see if there's any marks whatsoever. Nothing at all. I can hold it up to the light and see there are absolutely no marks. Oh, what's that there? Is that a little one? No, I think so. That's just a smudge where I've put my sticky fingers in the resin. Okay, so there we are. There's another test of materials that you can use or can't use for if you want to use your tiles with hot coffee or hot plates and things. Thanks very much for watching. As usual, I will make sure that there are links underneath the video where you can buy these products if you want them. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.